I am absolutely delighted to introduce to you Alex Powers, who is going to be talking to us about using AI-powered experiences with Power Query. I hope you enjoy.
Yes. And reminder, we love interaction. So please, please,
Yes.
please, at any point in time in the chat or if you're working on something and we make a reference to, a feature capability, you're like, oh my gosh, can you talk about that a little bit more? That'll help unblock me. We
Yes.
love doing that too. We love solving problems. So Sue, on your side, I'm going to ask for confirmation that you can see my screen.
I can see your screen using
Fantastic.
AI-powered. Perfect.
Thank you so much. And welcome, everyone. First and foremost, just thank you so much for your time. I always enjoy getting to hang out with folks. And of course, just a very appreciative of you giving me 60 minutes of your day before we have to kind of kick you out of here today. I know Sue had mentioned that. So throughout, just if you have any questions, very lively. My name is Alex Powers. I'm a program manager here at Microsoft, part of our Fabric customer advisory team. So if you see the acronym Fabric Cat running around, I'm one of those crazy cats. Located in St. Louis, Missouri, absolutely love Excel. Power Query changed my life. It changed my career. Whenever they said, hey, a lot of these power tools, Power Pivot, Power Query, we also have those over in Power BI. Started playing around with that, attending dashboard in the days. Oh my goodness, how many more things can I now do here? Scheduled refreshes changed my life, bought me a lot of time. And then I said, well, what else can I do? Moving into Azure and of course, just Microsoft Fabric. Hopefully you're feeling it too, just like a continuation of your skill sets. A lot of the things you started doing in Excel, hopefully transferable all the way to data at scale here now. With Fabric and kind of low code tools or to pro code, if you're kind of exploring those as well. Next career steps, though, I have no idea. I guess I should start writing that in my pilot for a co-pilot over my LinkedIn. Hopefully today you'll kind of see some of the fun things you can do with Copilot as well. Just so you don't think that I'm a technical robot, though, I do have personal interest outside of work. I love my cats. I've got two of them. They're amazing. I love watching pro wrestling. It's just a great way for me to escape kind of midweek. And then, of course, just data. It is my Tetris puzzle. It's my Sudoku at the end of the day. Whatever games you like playing, it's fun to just kind of wrangle data into the shape that you need. Of course, Nintendo NES, I just love old school video games. For me, it's just a lot of beauty and simplicity, and then just how complex those things are. So whenever I look at like a person's solution, whether it be like a report, whether it be Power Query, it's good to just step back and appreciate someone's like fine work every once in a while. I'm like, oh my goodness, he did everything right. There's nothing here that I can improve on. So just take those moments. And of course, Power Query, everything, everywhere, all at once, all the time, wherever it is hosted. Today's agenda, though, I want to talk about Copilot for Data Factory, and this will be focusing on Dataflow Gen 2. So if you're not familiar with Dataflows, they are Power Query online. So it is Power Query hosted up in the cloud. You can find this experience within Microsoft Fabric / Power BI, also within Power Apps. So if you're doing any building it within the Power Platform, you'll also see Power Query Online hosted there. It's also hosted in Power Automate using the SQL Server connector, just a lot of different places. So if this is your first time seeing Power Query Online, oh my goodness, you're in for a treat. And then talking about smart data preparation and just some of these deeply integrated experiences that already exist today. You don't need generative AI to complete them, but hopefully if you've not seen them before, something you start looking into enabling just for your authoring experience. Awesome. So Copilot for Data Factory. This is integrating Azure OpenAI into your Power Query authoring experience. So hopefully the screenshot looks a little familiar here. You have your queries in your Power Query session. You've got all your query steps. And now you're starting to think, how can I use generative AI to start accelerating my development time, doing all these crazy things that maybe we never thought possible just through the button clicks of the UI. And then as a professional developer, I'm always looking, hey, can I beat the machine? How does this make me better as an author? Even I'm finding ways to start using kind of generative AI here with my Power Query and generating M code. So we will be able to chat using just natural language transformation descriptions. And then we'll talk through some things just as you start seeing through the demos. I'm going to get us out of the slides here very quickly. Don't worry. I want to ground us, though, in a little bit of capabilities that do exist right now. Of course, there's so many amazing things we want to bring to it too. But one of the first things, though, is creating new transformations. So as you're looking at your data, it's in the data preview grid there. You say, let's add a single step, let's filter some data, let's group by, whatever else it may be. It can apply those transformations for you. As a UI person, I may be like, well, I can beat you with just 2 clicks as opposed to like a full sentence. All right. So maybe I can start chaining multiple transformation steps together. Well, right now I'd have to go to this button, wait for refresh preview. I'd have to go to this button, this button, this button. Maybe a Copilot could do my work for me faster. We'll see that in the demo. Creating a new query just from scratch, or by referencing some existing data that's been included within our Power Query session. Explaining single steps. We love all of our community contributors. We found some amazing, copy and paste from MK, from Ken Pulls, Miguel Escobar, whoever it may be out on the internet. We copy and paste and we throw it into our Power Query editor. Then we just say, hey, Copilot, what the heck is going on with this? And it says, oh, Alex, don't worry. Here's the complete explanation for it. I go, oh my goodness, that makes a lot more sense. I understand what the developer was doing. If you're working with your colleagues, of course, you take over their solution, just trying to get an understanding. What is it that they built and how can I easily ramp up and take over their solution if it is like a transferable operation there? And then just like explaining the full query. So whether it be a single step that's very complex or the full end-to-end query, you can just ask Copilot for those descriptions. With that, though, out of the slides. So let me go ahead and pull up Power BI. So again, we're just looking for the Power Query online host. If you're using Power BI today, this should look very familiar. It's your workspace. You've got a couple items in here. And what I'm going to do is just go to New. I'm not going to go for this data flow. I'm going to look for that data flow Gen 2 that I just mentioned. So I'm going to go to More Options. I'm going to go to the Data Factory here. I'm going to select Data Flow Gen 2. So this is our second generation here. Awesome. So if this is your first time seeing Power Query online, it is a new, modern, updated ribbon, getting out of the 1980s looking Excel Power Query or the 1980s looking Power BI desktop. This is amazing. I want you to just keep asking questions like, when do we get this? When do we get this? Hey, the P in Power BI is for patience. So just stick with us. It's coming soon. Here, though, on the far right-hand side of our home tab, we have the Copilot button. So I'm going to go ahead and select that just to show or hide the pane here. I don't currently have any data within my session. So I'm going to ask Copilot to help me out. Whenever I'm kind of building a solution, like one of the first tables I'm really trying to think about is, where's my date table? Go ahead and create one. You're attending Guided Cube streams. They tell you all the time, have a calendar table, have a date table. Like, all right, now you're searching the internet trying to find one. Wouldn't it be great, though, if we could just ask Copilot to kind of build it for us? So I'm going to try this input here. If you don't mind, I'm going to zoom in. Come on. There we go. Just so you can see the text. So I'm going to ask it to create a new table that starts from 2007 and goes to current date. Include lots and lots of columns to better analyze data with. That secret word right there, Sue. Lots and lots. I don't want to be explicit.
I do like that, lots and lots.
Because this is what we've been told, right? Is AI has this imagination, has all this power, and we could have written quarter, we could have written year, we could have written hundreds of different things. So of course here, maybe I mistyped something. Let me try another input. It clearly could not beat us, Sue, if we were to go with custom code.
Fernando's picked out you didn't specify calendar. There you go. Create a new date table. I'm back and forth with AI all the time.
I know. All right. Well, then thanks, Fernando, for calling us out there. Missing word. He was right.
Look at that. What a difference.
So I'm thinking about this now, Sue. It added, about 17 steps for us?
Yeah.
here, the current date. So then next time we refresh our data, it will always be up to date here with that current date input. How long would this have taken us if we were to do this step by step, kind of writing that code? We would have been here for a good 30 minutes of this session today, right?
Yeah, if we were to do it step by step, definitely.
Wow. So Copilot was able to use its own imagination here with the lots and lots. It filled it in with quarters, weekday names, week numbers, week ending. Maybe we get a little bit more specific and say, hey, my fiscal year ends as of June 30th, whatever it is.
And
the part that I love, though, yeah, the parts here that I love is that we didn't have to write an entire list, month, quarter, weekday. We don't have to be explicit with our instructions. Let Copilot try it out. So maybe let's take this example again. I'm going to kind of delete this original and get this out of here. I mistyped. I'm going to say that this is our calendar. Nice name. And I want to think about maybe a list of countries. So I'm going to zoom in here once more, if you don't mind. Just so we can see the typing, and then Fernando will be my wordsmith here. Create a new query that lists all 52 countries in Europe and their capital cities. Go ahead, hit submit. Fingers crossed. Come on, Copilot, you've gotten your coffee in for the day. Let's see how you do. So at this point, it's reaching out into that massive knowledge base of Azure OpenAI, all this indexing, all this information. It's created this query here for us. So Albania, Tirana, Austria, Vienna, Belarus, all the way down. Interesting. So it's got 45 of the 52. So again, this is, human in the loop. We tried something. It didn't quite get all of the results here. So of course we can just continue to adjust and, edit our prompts. But I'm thinking about this.
It's included us in the list.
Oh, has it? Awesome. Well, then for me, I'm thinking about if I was to take on this task, I'd be in Power Query. I'd then have to stop using it. I'd have to open up another browser tab. I'd have to use the favorite search engine of choice, which is Bing. I then had to type in all the European countries, find a website, find a hopeful table element there within HTML. I'd have to come back to Power Query. I'd have to copy and paste that address. I'd have to go to get data. I'd have to go to web. You can see just how long that those processes could be. But just reaching out in kind of the ether here of Power Query and kind of Copilot, just amazing to think about this, that it can go out, all of this information that's been indexed, we can just go and reach out and kind of bring that back into our authoring session. So maybe the last one here, which is always the most important one, is going to be kind of a global one here. Let's go ahead and do one more. This should be in every solution as well. Create a new query that lists all the Taylor Swift's albums, if I can spell, and their year of release. Let's go ahead and hit submit.
Got a couple of questions in a minute.
Yeah, awesome. Copilot's thinking about it. It's returned results all the way up to 2020, of course, for all my Swifties that may be hanging out. They could be saying, hey, she released some new albums in 2023 and 2024. Where are they? Just keep in mind, different models are up to date in different ways. So this model could be up to date, as of 2022 or 2023. As new models become available, as more information becomes available within those models, obviously, this is a great example. Just human in the loop, get some results, but verify, hopefully with the data preview grid. If it's not what you're looking for, just go ahead and undo. Delete it, discard it, get rid of it. Awesome.
So we've got lots of questions.
Yes. Let's go and take one.
So one was, what about security? Does everything get added to the main language model with Copilot?
I'd probably ask for a little bit more context there. If you want to come off mute, please feel free. And then if it's
Alex,
anything,
it's more the thing is all your query prompts that you do those actually get fed into the language model and to the actual side of things?
No, they do not. So any prompts that you're saying, Microsoft is not storing and not training on that data. So if that is a concern, absolutely don't have to worry about that. I'll also include some documentation here just around the Copilot security, just so you have this in writing, especially if that's important as you kind of start talking within your organization, just so you have the complete details about what Microsoft is using.
Well, I think it's more clients that I'm more worried about.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. We've got another one. Can you ask it to add to the population of the, so, you know, where you asked it to create the countries, can you go back and then ask it to add population?
So the population for each country, and then this will be where I say, like, from an implementation detail, you'd probably want to ask for all that up front. Just having it do like a row by row evaluation, those type of skills are just not currently available. So if you're wanting it to do like look at 100 million rows and evaluate each row, that type of capability is not available.
Oh, brilliant. Anthony said, how up to date is the data? But you covered that because you said it depends upon, you know, when it was fed the data.
Yeah. And this is a GPT 3.5 turbo model. So if you're to look at some of the OpenAI, I believe that it kind of goes up to early 2023.
And the other one was, can you just click on the source step of one of the queries just so that Petra can see the source step?
Yeah.
When you wrote it.
Yeah, let me do that here in the next examples, just so I can kind of show some of the that's being generated.
And then Asa Barnes wants a query of the latest English Premier League table.
Well, if we have some time, we'll definitely take some call and responses here for inputs. I would love to see what returns. I'm equally learning what is possible with all this cool, fun stuff in Gen AI. So, well, then let's try this. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I told you they were chatty. Is it included in, it's amazing. This is from Shaheen. It's amazing, frankly. Is it included in Copilot 365 subscription? And then Fernando is asking about cost.
Yep. So let me go and answer the licensing. This is currently only available within Microsoft Fabric, but you can think about anywhere where Power Query is hosted. We're looking to bring this same experience to all those different applications. So whether it be Excel, whether it be Power BI Desktop, Power Platform, etc., anywhere where you find Power Query, we want to bring this Copilot. But just as of today, just currently available within Microsoft Fabric. So hopefully that provides some comments there. Now, which SKU? It's going to be for P1 or F64 or above for that SKU capability. So the lower SKU is just not currently eligible for the Copilot experience. Awesome. And I'm not taking any more licensing questions because we're all being friends here today. So hold them to the end.
We want to see the fun stuff.
Exactly. Cool. So a little bit more realistic data here with Contoso. And of course, you're all laughing, Contoso data. I have this data here. I've never used Power Query before. This is my first time in the application. I know the work that I need to complete, but I don't know what buttons to click. So if I was using this example, I have some customer data, and I want to say only keep married customers. I'll avoid kind of zooming in here for the input, just because I want to hit submit. I'm not giving it an explicit column. I'm not giving it instructions here. I have this marital status here, M equals married, S equals single. Can Copilot figure that out for me? Absolutely. So in this example, we see the Power Query M formula that's been generated. Marital status equals M. If we remember our original input, didn't give it any explicits. Power Query was able to go through and it says, hey, I think you're probably wanting a filter rows step. So let me go ahead and add that for you. So think about this. If you're an inexperienced user or you have new users in your organization, again, they've never touched Power Query, but they know the problems they need to solve. Awesome. So this time, filter rows. Next time I'm in Power Query, I might start looking for that icon. So I see, remember that filter rows. Oh, awesome. It's here up on the top, filter rows. I can maybe search for it too here in the search box. Looking for filter rows. It's in the home, reduce row section. I'm starting to find ways to learn the application and then maybe start transitioning into the buttons. Whew. So what else? Email address. I've got this username. I've got this domain address. Maybe I can ask it then to separate the login by username and company. And I can zoom in here in just a moment, but the input is a little bit less important. It's more of, here's the problem that I have. I don't know the term split. I don't know the term delimiter. I don't know that a delimiter is an @ symbol. I just know that I need kind of this username and kind of domain address. So I'm going to zoom in here now, if you don't mind. And let's get that. Awesome. So we asked for username, we asked for company. It also added those as our column titles for us. It's not explicit instructions here that have to match the UI's verbiage. It's not the terminology of Power Query that a person needs to know. It's a problem that they need to solve. Provide those inputs here. Let's try another one then. I have this first, middle, last.
But can I just, what did it write? Because it's written the custom code. So what's it written for the step?
Yep. And if I was to zoom in here into the advanced editor, let's go down to it. It did a nested query. That's something that we're working on improving. So ideally, all you should see kind of in the future here, as we continue to train the model, is all you would see is the split column. Whew. So if you see nested steps, just know, just more of an implementation detail. Awesome. Is there a question?
Yeah, Paul said, can you get it to add a description in the applied steps that are filter rows? Or, you know, so when it writes the name in the applied step.
Yes. So we'll talk about that here in a moment. Yep, we'll talk about descriptions here in a moment, but I love that you're already leading the witness here, you know, in terms of your excitement. Let's try this again. I'm going to zoom in on this one, though. There we go. Combine all the name columns and call the new column full name. So it's going to look through our table schema. It's going to try and find those approximate matches of anything that contains the word name, and then it's going to just concatenate those for us. Again, thinking about the person who does not know the UI, does not know the appropriate buttons, does not know the terms, can they still get their work done? Let's go ahead and hit submit. I'll wait for that. We've got this first, middle, last. Ideally, we want to see a new step generated that will go ahead and combine these for us. And it just wrote some custom code. And we've got that new full name column just added.
Nice.
So what's everyone's thoughts here? Just in terms of like a new user, never seen it before, do you think that this could be helpful for them? Just getting them up to speed?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Takimi asked a question, and she said, but will this help me write my DAX? And so we've said it's M code. And I remember when I first started working with it, I didn't even know there was a difference between the two languages. So, yeah. You know, and I've got friends that work in other industries that, you know, spend ages trying to get the data set. I was the same, Takimi. I was absolutely the same. So there was no judgment from here. I just remember trying to you know, do stuff in DAX and M, and it just didn't work. So, you know, you grow, but you remember what it's like looking at all of these screens, and you know, and some people don't want to learn, do they? They haven't got time to learn.
Yeah,
they just want to get the job done.
Exactly, and there's no harm with that in terms of getting the job done and moving on to the next problem in your day. Some of us do enjoy, you know, the technical nerdery of learning multiple languages, but it's not for everyone. All right, so we talked about inexperienced users starting to learn the application, recognizing some of the icons, starting to find their way around tomorrow, and then how do you start accelerating Copilot to do the things that are tedious, that don't bring any value? So one of the first things I want to do, though, is go up to options. I'm going to turn on show script and step callout. Go and press OK. What this option does, you know, if you were to hover above a step, you can see the underlying M script. So especially for those who are like, you know, I love M, I want to read everything that it's generating. Let's go and try this input. So I'm going to say add a script that filters education where partial college, bachelor's, or graduate degree. Think about those times where you've received an email, where you've received an Outlook or a Teams message, and it says, do all the things in this list. The button clicks you have to go to do that. Hey, copy and paste the list. Let's go and outsource this to Copilot, right? Press submit. We have this education column here. So as a pro user, I'm trying to think about how can I get it to accelerate my development time. So of course, in this example, it's adding a filter condition. If we were to hover above this card now, I can see some of the underlying M script that was generated. But more importantly here, I want to go to the settings. Count it out for me. 1, 2, 3, 4 fields, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, like 10 plus fields that we would have had to go through and configure one by one. And then we'd have to remember, is it an and condition or an or condition by toggling these two and then, checking the preview. So instead of filling in 12 different value fields, Copilot did it for us, one input. How much faster are we now here in terms of our productivity as professional developers? Whew, a lot to think about from there. So we've added a lot. Somebody asked about descriptions. I've clicked on this icon here. Describe this query. Let's see what Copilot thinks. What is it we were doing? Here's an explanation. Load some customer data, filter by the marital status, split emails, create full name, filter by education level, just at a high level. And then each individual step. So filter rows, filter where marital status is M, splitting the email address column, filtering rows here again, kind of in our conditions. Copying and pasting code from the internet, taking over a solution that your colleague built, getting up to speed as quickly as possible to understand what they were doing. How helpful could this be?
We were having this, Henrique and I were having this conversation about, does this then mean that you don't have to comment your code because you can just pop it in and then it makes your, it could make your code a lot clearer. So, it's an interesting way.
Yeah. So we use this query, so we didn't have to write it out explicitly. We could do the same, describe this step. Maybe it wasn't the full query that we needed a description on. Maybe it's just that single complex step that we're trying to wrap our brains around. What is Copilot doing? It has that positional awareness to say, here's an explanation for custom. Maybe I was clicking about dim customer concatenating the full name, but it's able to recognize just what step you're currently at and then what the return value should be. So if you wanted to get explicit here, describe the split column step.
Yeah, really interesting point from Varsham. Hopefully I've pronounced it right, Varsham. He says it looks like it depends a lot on columns being named. And, I guess it does, but then does it not? Will it be able to read them and infer?
Yeah, so if you recall, one of our first input, only keep married customers, we did not give it any explicit instructions to find marital status or the fact that M was equal to married or S was equal to single. Again, this is the power of AI, is to do some of this magic here for us in the interpretation, separating login by username and company. If we remember that one as well for the split columns, did not provide any guidance here to find the email address. They didn't even mention email.
Yeah, we've got some demanding users in here. They want to say, right, okay, now tell it to add the comments to the code, and then tell it to do the applied steps.
Yes. So we'll talk about code comments here in a little bit. I'm going to do one more thing though here, if you don't mind, for our dim customer table.
It is brilliant.
Input here, count the total number of customers by education and keep the top 3. As I hit enter, break that down for me. What buttons would you click to accomplish this today in Power Query?
Oh my god.
Count the total number of customers by education and then keep the top 3. We would probably do a group by, right?
Yeah, group by,
then do
and
a sort.
Yeah.
So we'd have to then
you might have to do
values.
a table.buffer to keep this, make sure the sort stays.
No, we're fine here. And of course, with like table.buffer, we can have that. But I would say, at least for the code that's being generated, it's not currently staying. and then keeping the top 3. So I want to go ahead and unwind this here for us, just in terms of the code that was generated. So I keep this.
Yeah, group
go ahead
by.
Awesome.
Top 3.
So one input resulted in a group by, resulted in a sorted in a descending order, and then resulted in the keep top 3. One input would have cost me 3 button clicks. So as a professional developer, I'm actually chaining my inputs together to do things that I was never able to do with the UI, which is multiple actions just in one go. That's incredible from a power user perspective.
Yeah.
We saw it create 15, 18 different steps in our calendar table. Here we've been able to do 3 different activities that would cost us 1, 2, 3 clicks waiting for that data preview on each one. Here, done. One input. It's incredible to think about.
Yeah.
All right, let me go check my dim store table, and then we're going to talk about descriptions here a little bit. For any DVAs in the room, I'd always ask, why are you so angry? Why are you yelling all the time with your column names? Always uppercased, always with the underscores. Help your business users out. Make things read properly. Remove those underscores. Just help readability, discovery. Thinking about this task, though, Sue, it brings me no joy to double-click this and rename it, and then double-click this, and then double-click this, right? These are the tasks where we should absolutely say, Copilot, go do this for me. So I'm going to go ahead and drop this in the input here. Rename my columns by replacing the underscores with spaces and making the text proper case. Go and hit submit. All right, Copilot, this is your moment to shine here. Working on it. Oh, let's try one more time.
Let's try it.
That was the fun part. Oh, all right. Well, if it doesn't go through, let me try one more time. Underscores with spaces and making text proper case. And then ML models are
making the name proper case.
Yep. Making name proper case. Cool. No demos can go unbroken. Thank you.
No, we always.
There we go.
There you go. It's part of. We always say it's about learning together. And you learn more when it goes wrong.
Of course. And at this point, it wasn't anything you did. It's just the models. They're a little fun here. So in this example, it updated each one of our column titles. It removed the underscore. A lot more readable here in terms of our naming. Again, this task brings me no joy to update hundreds of column names across, tens of tables or hundreds of tables in my solution. Copilot just go do it for me.
Did it call it Angry Analytics?
I did.
You did it that. I missed that bit. What did it do? For the drop down on the custom? What was the code that it chose to use? I love seeing how other people write their code because you learn so much from it.
Yeah.
List.transform. Nice.
Yep. And then here with another input, maybe I put all my keys to the left side of my table. So reorder my columns so that any column with the word key is moved all the way to the left. So I now see store key, entity key, and geography key have been all positioned all the way to the left. So moving columns, deleting columns, adding columns, renaming columns, whatever it is, whatever you can do to a table today, start thinking about how Copilot can do that for you as well. Just thinking about your table schemas.
Brilliant.
Cool. All right, well, let's get out of this demo here. I've been hearing everyone kind of ask just around, descriptions, other fun things. So let's do this one. This is all the careers page here for Microsoft jobs. So if anyone's interested in applying, please let us know. Very complex M. Some list.generate, some pagination here with the web request, kind of going through some different code. Describe this query for me. Like a fairy tale.
Like a
Go and
fairy
hit
tale.
submit. Let's see how inventive this AI can be. And we'll go ahead and zoom out. But a lot of fun here to think about these. All right. Once upon a time, a brave function embarked on a quest to retrieve data from Microsoft careers, leading to a magical journey of transformation and revelations in the enchanted land of Power Query. Oh my goodness. I could read this story day and night. I absolutely love it. So people have asked about descriptions.
Yeah. So
what I would love to see is also being able to commit this description for you. The things that I don't have a good sense on, and I could use your help here from the audience, is like, what is meaningful documentation? So the last thing I want to do is commit a bunch of garbage text into your code, and you're like, this doesn't make any sense. Document all of this for me. That's okay. At the very end here, Copilot has generated a description for you. You then decide to hit commit. What is good documentation for you? Yeah. What level of detail is most helpful? Is it high-level summaries? Is it adding your own custom documentation that speaks to your specific business logic? Is it more step-based descriptions of saying, hey, I applied these filters? What is it that would be most helpful for you? Is what I would ask.
Yeah, feel free to put in the chat or unmute. Henrique and I had this conversation exactly. It was because you could, from my perspective, you could just put it in if you don't understand it and you're taking over for someone else, and it could document the technical steps. But what we focused on is actually the purpose, why you're writing that query, and any sort of business logic that is applicable to explain the technical stuff that you're doing. But that was just my 2 penneth, if anyone else wants to join in.
Yeah. And I would agree, like iterating through pages of results until job entries are retrieved.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. If people aren't familiar with the term, iterating, of course, like converting an API list to a table, retrieving job searches for AZ data, like to me, that seems pretty helpful. Again, though, is it more high-level business reasoning of why we're building this, or is it more low-level of here are the actual documented steps and what the translation could be for the Power Query language? Let us know. Again, what I want to do is see a button here at the very bottom, just like that undo that we saw earlier. Just add it to my query, right? From there, we've documented your entire solution top to bottom. Documented solutions are the best solutions. So, absolutely a huge fan of that. All right.
Paul asked, Fernando asked, can you ask it to verify referential integrity of the table? Via the referential integrity of a table.
Yeah, so data quality things, if that was kind of the context of the question, not currently within the skills that we talked about earlier. Things that we're looking at are data suggestions, so cleaning your data. Maybe it's like a mismatch of like a phone number kind of format. Maybe it's excess padding that you just can't recognize as a human eye. How can Copilot say, hey, I found these suggestions. Do you want me to apply the steps for you? It could also be like schema based, where we say, hey, we know the shape of your table. Here's the best way to kind of lay it out, in terms of like star schema, unpivoting, whatever else those things could be. Refactoring of code. Maybe it's a solution that you have, and maybe we say, hey, if we moved a couple of these steps up, thinking like query folding, like if we rearrange some things, you can get some better performance possibly. Like those are the things where we feel like we could add a lot of value. Data quality, though, I'm still a little bit curious though on what people are trying to do. I hope that our UI satisfies a lot of that, but if not, maybe that's an area that we can explore. So we're at 42. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. Okay. I want to show some of the smart data prep, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully everyone was excited, though, seeing some of the Copilot capabilities. I want to talk about what exists outside of Copilot just the same. Adding columns, from example. If you're not using this today, please check it out. This is available within Power Query, Excel, Power BI Desktop, here in Power Query Online. This has been around for a couple of years now, I would say. A really great capability though. So what you're seeing, of your data here in the preview grid, you just type in a little bit of an example of what you want the final output to be. It can recognize that for you, and then it can also write the underlying Power Query formula, just as you see here on the screen. I'll demo this as well in the application, but I just want to kind of highlight this. Table by example. Maybe it's a web page where you want to start doing some web scraping. You're not familiar with Python. You're not familiar with Beautiful Soup, all these crazy fun packages, but you love Power Query. Just go to the connector for the get data from web. You can see the page. You can then connect to an add table from example, start typing it in. And Power Query will go out there, look at the HTML, and it will start bringing that data for you. So in this example, it could be as simple as going out to the Power Query connectors, typing in a few connector examples, and then from there, all the cool AI will start doing all the detection and kind of going through the HTML formatting for you. So we should see it here in like 2 seconds.
Oh,
there we go. There we go. Whew. So we can complete the entire web page for you, just like that. CSV by example, another amazing one. So you've got some CSVs or text files that you're receiving in a very weird format. It doesn't make much sense in terms of the output, but there's absolutely a pattern here that could be recognized. In this example, we could just be extracting out kind of some vehicle information here. So we start laying it out in a tabular format by just typing in our pattern. It can then recognize it, say, hey, apply a few more values here to Suzuki, boom, done. It's built the entire table for you now. Fuzzy merging. This is a really fun one. I'm surprised that a lot of people don't talk about this one a little bit more, but if you have some values in your data that's a little dirty, maybe it's misspelling of names, maybe it's business names, whatever else it could be, start leveraging fuzzy merge to just start cleaning up that data here with the similarity thresholds. It could also be like the transformation table if you have like a mapping table of what the final output should be. And I'll kind of do this through some of the demo as well. But let's go ahead and get to the next one because I want to do the actual fun stuff with the technical demo. Data profiling. This is in Excel, Power BI Desktop, Power Query Online. Enable it, turn it on. So a lot of those questions around data quality, you can see your column, you can see which ones have valid results, which ones maybe have some errors, some broken items. And then you'll see like value distribution, column statistics here through this advanced profile. And then last one here, column pair suggestions. This is amazing. We talked about table schemas. If you think about those activities where you have to scroll left to right to find the right columns to kind of match up, Power Query will now suggest these for you. Saying, hey, I found some possible columns that match. And it's amazing. So without talking about it, the best thing to do is demo it. So let's go into our smart data prep. Whew. And then please keep the questions coming. We love the chat here.
Yeah. What about data translations from another language, just as you're loading up?
Data translations. And is that within the context of Copilot? Please let us know in the chat. If so, I would say, again, like row by row based evaluations, not a good use case here for Power Query. It would probably be best to call an external service. It's like an add column, a web.contents to like an API that could do a translation. Those are capabilities that we're looking to kind of bring into this service, but I would just say for the skills that exist right now, just not possible.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, awesome. So here we're Power Query users. I'm getting rid of Copilot. I know, I love it. Add column. I've got this column from examples. From all columns or from my active selection. I'm going to go ahead and use all columns here within my table. I want to say job title and name. That's a long column title, but I want to type in Maria Anders and then my pattern, sales representative. Press enter, done.
Nice.
If you have long text strings and maybe there's like a little bit of bits and pieces here that you need to extract out, type in the pattern. It can then take that data, your output, it then generated the formula here for us of text.combine, contact name, comma, the parenthesis, close parenthesis. It recognizes it, it can figure it out. If not, type in a couple more examples, just feed it what you're looking for, and ideally, I would say 9 times out of 10, it does a fantastic job of determining what it is you're trying to accomplish.
I like
Cool.
seeing the code that it writes, so you can
I
learn.
know.
You do it that way. I didn't. Just.
It's such a fun way to learn too.
Yeah.
By just using the UI, reading the formula bar, and then especially if you become a crazy fun M person like us, you're like, let me just write a little bit. Let me tweak this a little bit to kind of what I want.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we've got this web example here. We were just talking about the web pages. I'm going to go ahead and copy this address. Go to our get data from a web page. I'm going to go ahead and paste this in here now. It does rely on an on-premises data gateway, so just something to be mindful of if you're using the Power Query Online service. I'm going to go and press next. Get some data loading.
I just think Power Query is so powerful, isn't it? I
It
use it
is.
every day.
There's always more and fun things that are being added. So all these different tables here that I would need to go out and add, I could maybe do like some transforms and concatenate or append them all. But I'd really like to have just Power Query do it in one go. So I'm going to say, let's go ahead and add this table using some examples. And then my examples here are going to be my list of connectors out on the Power Query page. So first one up, Access Database, Activity Directory or Active Directory. So let's do Access Database by Microsoft. Next one, Active Directory by Microsoft. It's even supplying a lot of these details for me. Let's have it learn a couple of these values. It can recognize the pattern here that we're looking for.
Just a question for when you're done. When is this feature coming to Excel Online?
For Power Query Online, was that the
Excel? The Excel Power Query Online.
So the tables from examples should be there already for Excel. And if it's not, please let me know, because I believe that it's been in Power BI Desktop for some time. And I thought that it was also in Excel. But if not, I can get a response here for the group. So let's call this connector. So I've got these examples. It goes all the way down to A, but I'm really looking to get kind of all of this in one go. So let me go to the next group, which is going to be my B's, BI connector. Come on. BI connector. And then it should start recognizing that I want to go after each and every table. Awesome. So I've got B's, I've got C's, I've got D's. Wow. It figured it out. It said, you want the entire page? And I said, absolutely. Give me everything. So now instead of having to do an append over, 26 letters, 26 different queries that would have to refresh and evaluate, it just said, let's do one table. I'll bring everything in. And then from here, of course, we can use our UI to start splitting these data. So then this we have the connector. I have who it's developed by, but just a very simple way here to start going out and kind of obtaining some web data, scraping that web page as well, just for maybe formats that are very non-consistent in terms of like a table. So split this column by delimiter, advanced. Let's do a custom. I'll do our by, press OK. There we go. Whew. Little spinning wheel. Awesome. Connectors, developers, again, just looking at our data. We didn't have to know anything complex about web scraping, about the M language. We just need to provide a few examples. So let's try that now here with maybe this CSV file.
Yes.
Do our home, our get data, text CSV. Let's paste this here. And we'll start seeing some data in our preview grid. Connecting to our data source. Come on, it's waking up.
Knows it's on a demo version. So I'm just going to make you just wait a little bit.
until it's trying to load here. There we go. I mean, this format, like this would take some pretty complex M to start writing this out and figuring out, what's each pattern. So maybe I can try this add table using examples instead. So I have my data preview here now. It's kind of loading in that data. So I've got my ID, I've got my make, got my model. Of course, I've got my year. So 2001 for first year. Chevy. Oh, it's already starting to fill some stuff in for us. Chevrolet. This is 1. This is 2. Oh, starting to fill it in. Silverado 2500 extended cab. Awesome. Done.
Oh, that is nice.
Press create. Look at all those steps it just did for us. That would have taken us forever to point and click and maybe find a web page that provided a tutorial on how to do it.
Yeah.
Instead, just from example. Wow. Let's move that one up there. Data profiling, some of our suppliers. So if you have not enabled this, just within Power Query Online, you can go to View, kind of your data view, enable column profiling. This now start giving you just different column quality, kind of evaluating each. I can see here we've got some nulls in terms of region. So a lot of empty values here at kind of 69. So if I was to highlight above this, I then see my value distribution, maybe Quebec results in about 2 of 29. And I've got Michigan, Oregon, Victoria, entire data set, or just the first 1,000 rows, especially if you're looking at like some sampling. So if you have a very large data set that you want to do data quality on, maybe just consider the 1,000 just as a way to kind of reduce that time in terms of those spinning wheels. But you can also go to more, you can do a group by, and you can do a text length. So maybe we look at like text length distribution.
You used to be able to copy it.
Yeah. And then I think it might be.
You know those little 3 dots? You'd be able to copy that profile.
Yeah, and that could just be still within desktop. So that could be one of those capabilities that just isn't available here yet.
Yeah, I like that one.
So you could right click, you could do equals, you can start applying transformations just to look at this data. So we could say, give me the 2 text length that equal this value distribution. So if there's a way that you need to do some expiration here on the data, maybe clean up some, dirty or missing values, just use the profiling, kind of drill in here as needed in terms of the equaling or not equaling. Just an amazing way though here in product to start.
I use that a lot.
Awesome. So let's do kind of merging here now.
Do you know, Alex, I'd forgotten that this was online and not desktop. That's how far it's come on.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got some dirty data here. Let's go ahead and delete this until the end. I've got some misspellings here. I'm going to zoom in if you don't mind. I've got apple, I've got APLE, I've got banana, lowercase, I've got bananas and apples again here. Just some of that survey data that you may commonly see, and you're like, let's go through.
How many times can you spell apple in a different way?
So let's do our merge here then. We want to combine this with our fruit table. So we've got our question, which is your favorite fruit? We've got our actual fruit list here, and then our fuzzy matching options. So let's go and turn this on. How similar should they be between 0 and 1 in terms of proximity? So we've got about 8 of 9 of them actually now coming through. I'd like to know what's the actual score, how close was it? Number of matches. As soon as it finds a match, I want it to be done. So just one match. And then our transform table here, I have that mapping as well of saying, here are the only eligible fruits I ever want you to consider. And then if you return one of those, let's go ahead and have that as a match. 9 of 9. We're able to clean our data here now using fuzzy matching. So let's go ahead and press OK. We're going to expand this out. I know. I hear you. I got my cat. I love her. I love her. So we've got our fruit. Let's go and expand these. And then we will see our similarity score. We will see the cleaned up data here now for each column. Apples are apples, pineapples, watermelons, no space, 0.95, 0.91, 0.91, 0.95. Awesome. So we're actually doing pretty well here in terms of some of this data cleanup where fuzzy merging could be very helpful. If you have a very large data set, I'd like, please, this could be very expensive just in terms of that refresh time taking a long time. But if you only have a few thousand rows, if you've got a mapping table that could help you out, this is immensely helpful here for fuzzy merging.
Yeah.
And then column pair suggestions, this very last one, which is my favorite.
I love the similarity score that you can see that. So it gives you,
All right, so we've got this query, we've got this other query. I want to go and merge these two together now. Got my customers table, I've got my orders table. And then this magical thing happens. Wait for it, wait for it. Oh, did you see it? Sue, did you see what just happened?
No, it's too quick.
It was too quick. It was this light bulb here in the top right. It said, hey, I think that these two columns could match. So maybe it's an exact match. Maybe it's an exact match of the titling. Maybe one is like a customer, maybe another one's employees. It could suggest these column pairs for you. So instead of you and me having to circle back and forth trying to find the right column,
I do that a lot, back and forth.
Same here. So it gives us column pair suggestions now of across our two schemas. We can press OK. It's made our matches. We've now merged our tables. I know we're getting close to the hour, so I'm going to get Sue out of here. But
I'm all right for 5-10 minutes. Don't worry.
Very cool then. Well, then I hope that what you've seen is not only generative AI and all the crazy, amazing things that you can do with Copilot, but also what you can do today. If you're more accustomed to the UI and you're saying, hey, I've gotten a really good rhythm down and I've got my experience built, how can I start leveraging built-in AI within Power Query? A lot of these features and capabilities. Maybe it's adding a column. Maybe it's just creating a table from like the web page. Maybe it's a very wonky laid out text CSV file using the create from examples. Data profiling, of course, for like data quality and discovery, fuzzy merging. If you're dealing with a lot of free-form text data, maybe that's a great thing to look into. And then, of course, like these column pair suggestions where it's just saying, we understand your current authoring flow. Let's go ahead and throw this light bulb up for you to just say, I think we found a couple matches. Review them, press the button, move on. It's like a lot of these tedious tasks that can just be accelerated through AI. So hopefully with that, let me go and jump back to the PowerPoint.
We've got a couple of questions, two questions before you. Could it do compound keys if it takes more than one column to match? Do you think it would be able to?
That's such an amazing question, Julie. I'd have to test that. I've not seen it do that as of yet, but that does not mean that it's not possible. So let me get back to you on that one.
Christian has said, have you seen the two new join types actually used in the wild yet?
I've seen Rick blogging about those a little bit more here recently, but I've not seen them personally. No.
Okay. And Fernandez says, we do love Power Query with a fist bump.
Whew. Well, I wanted to close by saying thank you so much for just giving me your time. It's been so much fun to share not only what you can do within Power Query and kind of the UI, but also the amazing things you can start using with generative AI. It's not just one step at a time, as we saw with chaining activities. It could be like a full-blown query with like 18 steps. I don't know everything. Our examples where we said lots and lots, what's out there? Yeah. What's the creativity of this Azure OpenAI thing? And then as Power Query developers are like, what's the code? I could have written better than that. So it's kind of that fun discovery and that journey that we're all taking here together. So I'd be closing by saying, if you start playing around with Copilot and kind of Power Query, please let me know. I'd love to hear, hey, what were you trying? What worked? What didn't work? As we saw, we had a couple of hiccups here in some of our inputs. That's what's fun. It's part of the journey here that we're all taking of, what did you try? What input did you use? What was your result? It's so amazing to think about, though, that we all have a place here, whether it be an inexperienced user or as a power user. There's a lot of applications that we could have just helping us here with our Power Query development. So with that, Sue, thank you so much. And I'll take more questions if we have them.
Yeah, it's put the questions in the chat or put your hands up or anything. We got another 5 minutes. It's just absolutely brilliant to see the way that you say it can be used for anyone from beginning to help me do this, and then you can look at it and you can explore the code through to, isn't it, more experience. Sometimes you see people and they write one line of code and you're like, how did that work? Yeah. Break it down for me so that I can understand it and explain it. And Takimi said she wanted to see if you can create a cat-related table during the webinar.
Oh my gosh, yes, I will take one input for cats, of course.
One input for cats. Fernando says a thank you, and Alex Moses says thank you to you and I. I love Power Query. It just and if you haven't seen the 30-day query folding by Alex, look at it on YouTube. It's brilliant. It just gives you inspiration for what you can do, because I'm always having to go back to the data unless you're really, really lucky and you have a team that models data for you. Most of my clients don't, so it's it saves so much time.
Yeah, I agree. Well, fingers crossed here on a creative cat table. We've got Fluffy, who is white. We've got Whiskers, who's gray. We've got Mittens. We've got quite a few coming through here, so we can get that preview. So that was a fun test. Thank you so much for the input here. Now I get to see how can I get even more cats on my table return. So
yeah, you got a big heart there. Well, thank you, Alex. If anyone's interested in Tabular Editor, I'm presenting on Tabular Editor in a moment at the East Midlands user group. I haven't got the link to hand, but it's on LinkedIn and I can put it there. And Christian said, quickly, any idea why when connecting to Dataflow Gen 2, I get a SQL error on 2 machines, but it's working fine on the 3rd? And
it's likely a gateway-related firewall issue. So let's take that one offline.
Yeah.
Get you unblocked.
Yeah, Fernando's come back with gateway, question mark.
Yep, always gateway.
I should paste the link. I will paste the link in 2 seconds, but just let me say a huge thank you to Alex for coming and joining us, because we all love Power Query, and your passion for it and the way that you share it for us is brilliant. So a huge thank you, Alex.
Thank you so much, Sue, for having me. Loved it.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. And Power Query Ambassador. And see, Fernando is very pleased with you as well. Fernando gives us great. There we go. I think that should be my meetup. He gives us great help and support on how to be better. Like, Sue, put your microphone in the right place. But thank you, Alex. I will let you get on for the rest of your day, and everyone else, thank you so much for joining us. And I will put the recording on YouTube this evening, so Christian, who was late because he got lots of grief in the chat when he turned up, can watch it. So thank you, Alex.
Thanks, everyone.
Take care. Bye all. Bye. Just turn the recording off. So we've got a couple of minutes. Christian,